Hello, love bugs. We had a bit of a shocking conversation in chat the other day while I was streaming Palia about fishing. And it made me realize that we have a lot of new players that truly do not understand the basics and obviously don't know about the more complicated things like fishing buffs and where to get plushies and all of that in Palia. So today I am giving you the ultimate guide for fishing ever since Elderwood has updated. I'm going to give you my tips, my tricks, how I'm able to catch sharks every single time without missing them. I'm going to tell you how you can get your ancient fish, though I do have a video on that will be very more specific that I'll be referencing. And yeah, I really want to let you all beginners know exactly everything that you need to know about catching all of your fish in Palia, as well as veteran players to give you a refresh on what the different buffs do, what are the best ones to use, all that good stuff. So we have a lot to get into. Without further ado, let's talk about fishing. Let's start with some basics. Let's say you are hunting a specific fish. Well, before you start hunting that fish, you are going to need some very specific information. You're going to need to know what map the fish spawns on, whether it's Kilima, Bahari, or Elderwood. You're going to need to know what biome it spawns in, whether it's a pond, the lake, the rivers. You will need to know what bait it uses. Is it no bait? Is it regular worms? Or is it glowworms? Which one of these baits do you need? Yes, some fish are actually caught with no bait at all. And you're going to need to know the time of day that you need to catch these fish as well. So you might be asking yourself, Ravi, how the heck do I find all that out? Let me introduce you to the Palia Wiki. In my opinion, the official Palia Wiki isn't just essential for playing Palia. It is incredibly essential specifically for catching fish and bugs. There is an official fish page if you want to go to palia.wiki.gg and then /wiki/fish. It will take you to just kind of your basic information about fish. Like I mentioned, I was going to touch on the ancient fish. There is also information here on the ancient fish and specific things that you need to do for it in order to catch that fish, but it does contain spoilers. If you are over trying to catch the ancient fish and you're really confused, I do have a video on my page giving you every single step-by-step detail on how to catch that fish. So if that's what you're here for right now is specifically just the ancient fish, I recommend going to that video. But it's going to take you down here and explain how all of the different fish works, which we are going to go over this in the video. But it's also going to show you where you can catch all of your different fish. Now, another way that you could do this, for example, would be just searching up in the upper corner. You could type in, let's say, a Lero eel, excuse me, and then click on that. And it's going to give you the information on this particular fish. So this is a rare fish in Palia. It is more attracted to the glowworm, can be caught in the saltwater rivers of Elderwood, along the coast and near the aqueduct during the evening, night, and morning, which is very, very important for keeping track of it. It's going to show you pictures of what it looks like when you place it when it is starred and unstarred. And then most importantly, it's going to give you a map. So for those of you who are currently looking for that fish, these are the only places you're going to be able to catch it. And if you're looking for the starred one, you're going to have to fish in a special spot, which is the next thing I'm going to mention. I was shocked to learn in stream the other day that people had been fishing for hours and hours and couldn't find the starred fish that they were looking for. That they were getting tons of unstarred ones, but never a starred one. And I was like, well, but if you're getting unstarred ones, then you're fishing in the wrong spot. The only way to get starred fish is to fish inside of the circles. If you fish inside this circle, it will always be a starred fish or a plushie or a makeshift chest if you're in Kilima and Bahari, but it will never be an unstarred fish. Much like when you are fishing outside of the circles, it will always be an unstarred fish. So as you can see, my gillyfin that I just caught was a starred fish, meaning that is a placeable piece of furniture. And also works me towards my accomplishment. If I was to fish here where it is not starred, where there is no circle of water, the fish or item that I get will always be unstarred. Or you get a wheel, which doesn't have a star capability at all. But you know what? Sometimes there some of the items that you fish up, they might seem kind of worthless, but some characters actually ask for them as gifts. Like Nio loves that wheel. Fishing where you can get starred fish is also important for another thing, and that is your accomplishments. And this applies to all of the accomplishments that have both a master version of to finish them, and then kind of like a regular version, meaning that if you do them all unstarred, you get a prize. If you do them all starred, then you get a different accomplishment. The cool thing about the accomplishments, which let's look at them right now. If you go to your accomplishments tab and go down, there's a Kilima and Bahari fish collector. And then there is a master Kilima and Bahari fish collector. And I told myself I was going to get it done before Elderwood, but I'm literally like two fish shy. But the cool thing about going for these accomplishments is if you want to complete them, you only have to go for starred fish, because the fun thing about catching a starred version of for example, the midnight paddlefish, not only will it help complete your master fish collector, the starred fish will also count towards your standard one. So every single one of my starred ones that I have caught, I have the basic version checked off as well, because it counts for both. So you don't have to go hunting for the midnight paddlefish unstarred and starred. You can just hunt for it starred, and it's going to count towards both. And this applies as well to your bug collector, as well. So if you are running around and hunting those really hard bugs, you can really, not that finding unstarred bugs, you will probably find a bunch of unstarred bugs before you find starred ones. But let's say you are just lucky and it's day one and you get a starred rainbow tip butterfly. You will also unlock the fact that you got it in this accomplishment as well. Now we're in the Elderwood, because I want to show you some of the tips and tricks that I have that allow me to catch some of the more difficult to catch fish in the game without using any of the fishing boosts. In order to fish in Palia, you are first going to cast your line. Now, for example, there's going to walk you through this on whatever platform you are on. For me, I'm using a computer, so I am using M1 or your left mouse bumper in order to cast. It is going to bob 3 times and then pop up out of the water. Then your job is to reel it in when it is between the lines and not jumping out of the water, with the same button that you use to cast. So let me explain that a little bit easier for you. When you are trying to, they're trying to give me a fishing boost. When you are pulling in your fish, your job is to keep the fish. Oh, whoops, I saw their fish and then I pulled in. Your job is to keep the fish within the little bars that are on the line, as well as only pull in when the fish is not jumping and is between those lines. So I am letting go every time it's red or yellow. I am letting go of my mouse button. I am going to let go of that when that happens. Let me go see if I can find. Okay, so right now I do have a fishing bonus, but the bonus is only for time on the hook, which we're going to get to fishing buffs and bonuses and how those work here in a minute. So I am going to pull this, and I'm hoping I get a shark because they're really tricky, so I can show you guys how I do it. And I'm going to kind of tell you what I'm doing. So right now I'm going to hit my button. Okay, I did. I got a shark. I'm going to drag. When that is red or yellow, I am not pulling in. And notice how my bar isn't really going down. Pulling in. Not pulling in, just following, waiting for it. Oop, I screwed up. Waiting for it to get green again. Pulling in, waiting and following the fish, pulling in. I am only pressing the button to reel when the fish is green within that dial. Let me show you one more time. I hope that I'm explaining this well. I know it's confusing when you can't see my hands and can't see exactly what I'm doing. But so I just used my button that reels in. Now I'm gonna use my button to catch. I'm not pulling in right now. Nothing's really happening. I've got this in here. I can hold on to this fish for a long time. Now I'm gonna pull in because it's on the green, right? And you're noticing that the thing below is not going down. What makes you, now I'm gonna show you how you lose a fish. What makes you all continue to lose your fish over and over again is because you're trying to pull the fish in when the fish is in the air or flying. So watch now. I'm going to try and pull in when it's not on the green, but it's instead on the red. Watch how my thing is going down. But then when I get back into the green, it's good again. Oh, now it's bad because I'm pulling it in and I missed the fish. Does that make sense? You have to be letting go of your reel when it's on the red or the yellow in order to pull in your fish without losing it. I don't need any buffs doing it this way to catch pretty much any fish in Palia, with maybe the exception of the unicorn fish. The unicorn fish is its own monster. Use your buffs, and that's what they're for. All right, so now let's say, Ravi, you don't understand how hard it is. You don't fish on the Switch. I need buffs. Okay, that's great. There's buffs in Palia. Let me teach you about them. The very first buff is the friendship buff, or the friend bonus for fishing. This is a stackable buff that reduces the time it takes for a fish to bite. So when you are, so see how my number just went up to a ×2. When you are near another player and they catch a fish, it is going to give you a stackable bonus for the time it takes to bite a fish up to ×5. What gives you the bonus, and what I'm giving to Arwen here is giving them the bonus, is actually when I catch the fish. You're going to notice I'm going to get a ×3 here in a second once Arwen has caught this shark. Just like I'm going to be giving Arwen a bonus if they stay here while I catch this fish. There's my ×3. Now I'm working to give them one. They don't seem to really care about the buff, so they ran off, but that's okay. What that bonus does is make your fish bite faster. It simply makes things quicker for when you are looking for fish, up to 50% faster. So this does not help you catch the fish. It does not make it easier to catch it. It doesn't make the fish appear anymore. It just makes them bite faster. This is particularly helpful when you're doing what Arwen is doing right now. So I'm actually going to go help them like get their buff. And you're going up and down the coast, specifically trying to get starred fish. I'm going to like try and rush to give them their bonus so that they can have a better chance of getting, or at least have a faster hook time. So that way they're not standing here as long waiting for the fish to bite. It'll speed up their process to getting their starred fish that they're looking for. So that is what the friend bonus is. That is how it works. I think they ran away. Oh no, they are still right there. They're glitching out on my screen a little bit. But by fishing within 10 meters of somebody else and catching a fish, you give everyone who is close to you an extra hit up to 50%. And then you have that timer until it disappears on your screen. So now I am catching fish 30% faster by having that friendship bonus. And even though I'm away from them now, I will still have it until the meter runs down on my screen. So my fish just caught a little faster than it was at the beginning of this video. And that is specifically because I have that friend bonus. So I hope that explains the friend bonus for everyone who's been confused about that. But now let's talk about buffs that actually help you when you're fishing to be able to catch fish. As I'm running to do that, I also want to mention really quick, Arwen was someone that I just ran up to randomly within the world. I do not know them. They are not on my friends list, and we clearly were not in a party. You do not have to be in a party with anybody. You do not have to be friends with a single person on your friends list to get the friend bonus. It happens literally just from fishing next to somebody else who is also fishing. That's all you have to do. The first stuff we're going to talk about is what you can get from Einar's store. And I'm going to tell you what to buy and what to never buy. And, you know, I usually just give you guys suggestions and I'm like, you know, play how you like, use what you want. No, right now, I'm going to tell you what not to spend your gold coins on because they are a waste, an absolute waste. Once you level up with Einar, you are going to have access to these different hooks, some of which that you can make and some of which that you can buy directly from Einar. Einar is going to sell you a major rod recovery booster, as well as hook time booster, which is kind of like what you get from friends. Save zone size booster is probably my favorite one. This is going to make that bar that appears when you're pulling in your fish green that turns green, yellow, or red, it's going to make it bigger so that you can keep the fish inside the space green, especially the really hard to catch fish, faster. I also like the major safe zone speed booster, but I really do think this is my favorite. Some people think this is their favorite. Everyone's different with this. This is, you know, try each one, see which one works better for you. This is going to increase the fishing safe zone speed when it's equipped, which means that you're going to be able to move it more quickly to keep up with the fish. I just think the size one is just better. It's just me. This rod recovery one, it's trash. Don't buy it. Don't spend your gold coins on it. Your exquisite rod takes like over 100 casts before it breaks and goes down to the next level. By the time you get to 100 and whatever it is, 18, I think 118 casts, you are going to need to sell. There is no, when you can only have one of these things equipped, why would you just try to be out there more when you can be doing this instead? Now, if you're someone who has 1 million coins with Einar, oh, I'm maxed out, I should probably buy some, that has 1 million guild coins with Einar, and you are just going to go fishing for plushies and you're just throwing your other fish away because you're at max gold, okay, fine, maybe that person needs this. If you're a new player, you absolutely do not need it. You just don't need it. Please don't spend your money on it. Like I said, you're only going to be able to pick one of these when you're going for a tough to catch fish. Let's say, for example, the unicorn fish, which I think is one of the hardest to catch in the game. The unicorn fish, you will have to pick just one of these because you can't stack hooks. You can only have one hook on your rod at a time. However, did you know that you can stack your food boosts? There are 5 different food items in Palia that give you fishing bonuses, and some of them are easier to get than others, and there are definitely some that are better than others. I would argue that the best one in the game, mostly because it's easy to make and you get it really early, is Fisherman's Brew. Fisherman's Brew is going to be obtained from Einar when you reach level 5 in fishing. You make it on a grill or you can make it on a campfire. This gives you a minor safe zone boost, so it's going to give you that little boost to how big your little reticle is when you're trying to pull in your fish. This was my favorite thing to use when I was hunting my unicorn fish personally. The next one is Trout Dinner. Trout Dinner, you aren't going to be able to get this one until you get Einar to level 3. It is a hidden recipe and you can look up where it is if you don't mind the spoiler. This one is going to give you a minor hook time boost. So this is going to be the one that gives you a little bit of an extra bar for you to catch your fish. I also really, really like this one. Fish stew is a recipe that you have to fish for. This is obtained on the Bahari coast with a regular worm. And then this one gives you a minor safe zone speed boost as well. Now, sushi and sashimi, people are obsessed with getting these ones, and I don't know why. All they do is give a boost to your rod to keep it from breaking. It's just your rod health. That's all it is. Throw them in the bin. Do not use these ones. Do not waste them. Again, unless you're a maxed level player with max gold and all of that, the only time you need these is if you truly just want to zone out and go for plushies for hours and you don't want to have to keep running back. You're just going to keep throwing your fish away or selling them to Einar if you're going to stand on his dock and fix fish and go for the big fish, whatever. Other than that, these are pretty much useless. Not to mention the fact that you can only eat so much food before you're full. So the 3 that you're going to want to eat are going to be these 3. Because once you eat them, you're probably going to be full and not able to eat anymore anyway. So make yourself a bunch of Fisherman's Brew, make yourself a bunch of Trout Dinner, and make yourself a bunch of fish stew. These are the 3 you're going to take with you, and then the hook of your choice when you're going for the really hard to catch fish, or if you're just struggling to catch some of the other fish that you really want. Maybe you just really want a starred Moz and you keep losing it every time. These are the 3 that you need to be eating. Please just trust me and throw these ones in the bin. Speaking of plushies, did you think that I would have this whole video and never talk about how you all can get all of these cute little fish plushies in the game? Let's talk about them. The first fish plushies that the Palia devs gave us came to Kilima and Bahari and spawn in ponds. This pond over here works. The pond behind Badruu's house is my favorite one. Anything that is considered a pond, again, you can look this up on the Palia wiki if you are curious as to which ones qualify as ponds. If you're going to fish in Bahari for them, I recommend either Mirror Pond, or I really like fishing at this little pond back here, but only if I have a group of friends to play with. Because again, when you're fishing for plushies, it's not going to be hard to fish for them. You really don't need to use any buffs of any kind in order to catch them. Catching them is incredibly easy. They do not put up a fight. You literally just pull them in. But having that bonus of fishing with other people is definitely going to speed up the time that you're able to catch fish in the ponds, and then therefore give you a higher chance of getting a fish plush. Now, there are 4 fish plushies that you can get in the ponds in both Kilima and in Bahari. This is going to be the minnow plush, the catfish plush, and the red and the yellow koi. You have a chance of getting all of them. Now, much like every other fish plushie, with the exception of the fins, which we'll get to in a minute, you can catch these with any bait. You can catch them in nodes, not in nodes. Imagine that the plushies are just floating around in the water, begging for you to accidentally nick it with your hook and yank it in. That is how the fish plushies work. You do not need to fish at any particular time of night. You do not need to catch the fish that they are designed after in order to catch them. It's not like huntable creatures. Like, I just caught a mud minnow. I do not have to catch a mud minnow to get a mud minnow plush. The plushie will actually physically appear on my hook for you guys to see it. So while mud minnows pop up with no bait, I do not have to use no bait while I'm fishing here. Let's say, for example, I'm still trying to get the super rare goldfish that appears in Kilima. I don't think I'm at the right time of day, but I'm going to go ahead and fish. Let's say I'm using glowworms out here because I'm trying to finish my accomplishments and I need something specific. Using a glowworm in this spot, I still have a chance of getting every one of the pond plushie fishes. Know that there is one other fish that you can catch in Kilima, or fish plushie, excuse me, that you can catch in Kilima that you may have been trying to catch with your friends during the market last week. The Magi Market is a good spot for you to catch the giant rainbow prism fish plushie. That guy is a super awesome giant plush, and the only giant plush that you can fish for, or really kind of find in an easy way in the game, I guess, huntable anyway. And that guy is, yes, available at the market, but is also always catchable here at Einar's Dock or along the coast. Again, you can use any bait that you want in order to catch that prism fish. He has a chance of popping up literally with any of the baits that you toss in, but is only available in Kilima, where the pond fish are available in the ponds in Bahari as well as the ponds in Kilima. And if you're ever curious about where to catch something, or if you forget something that I said in this video, definitely check out Palia Wiki. All of the information is going to be there for you. Now we are back at Elderwood and at Demur Docks, which is right over here on the map. This is my favorite spot to go hunting for the plushies in Elderwood, though you can catch them in a couple other places as well. I like to come out here also because it's a good spot to go running and looking for starred nodes if that's what you're looking for, but we're just going to try and fish right now. Now, the 3 float fish as well as the 2 shark plushies are caught with any bait, just like everything, all the other fish plushies in the game. Anytime that you are fishing here using any bait, you are going to have a chance at getting one of those plushies, no matter what you are using. However, if you want to get the fins are our first interesting and unique fish plush, where you specifically have to catch the fish, the shark, in order to get the fin. So I just caught a lake shark. The lake shark has a chance of dropping a lake shark fin when I catch a lake shark. Just like getting the Moz fin can only be acquired when you catch a Moz. Now, it's funny because the actual fish plushie itself is just floating in the water like all the other plushies, but the fins do require you to catch the actual shark in order to get it. So if you are someone who is struggling with getting your sharks because they can be really tricky, again, remember to not reel in when you don't see that green bar and to let go of that button. But it is making it really hard for some people to get specifically the Moz fin, since the Moz is so rare to pop up and then even rarer to drop its fin. So if you're hunting that guy down, this might be where your buffs are going to be really helpful, not just your time buff or playing with friends, or again, like I said, just running up to someone who is fishing and getting or giving a buff to them. But also, excuse me, but also using those food buffs and whatnot to make it easier for you to catch these fish. So I do want to give you a look. I don't have a hook on me, but I do want you to kind of see the difference when I eat all 3 of these foods for catching a shark. Now, I don't have a hard time catching these sharks anymore. I found their pattern, but you will see quite a difference. I'm going to eat all 3 of these foods. And now you can see I wouldn't have been able to eat any more, really. My bar is almost completely full, and I have a maxed out bar. You can see on the screen, I have 3 separate bonuses that have the little fish symbol, which are the ones for my food. Plus, I have a little bit of a bonus from the fishing with someone here. Now you can see how much faster my bar is moving. The reticle is a little bit bigger to get my fish, but also that speed makes such a difference. The very last thing that I wanted to touch on was just I've had a lot of players come into my chat in the past and say that they were just still trying to find their aquarium so that they could put their fish in their aquarium. That is not how it works. Starred fish come with a built-in aquarium and then are just inside of it. So once you have caught a starred fish, that is a placeable fish and acts as a piece of furniture that you can place. You do not have to build an aquarium. You do not have to buy one from Zeki. There is nothing else that you do. You just place the starred fish and bam, it's in its little aquarium. I hope you found this video helpful and found out some information that you maybe didn't have already, or maybe clarified some information that you were a little bit unsure of. If you have any other questions about fishing, please feel free to drop them down in the comments, and myself or another super helpful Palian will probably help out. I love you all so much, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.